Most people don't realize that cheating is often not about wanting someone else. It's about being unable to leave what already exists. Psychology explains why some people betray a relationship they claim to value instead of walking away from it honestly. By the end of this, you'll understand the quiet forces that keep people stuck. You'll see why fear, attachment, identity, and the brain's wiring can make cheating feel easier than leaving. And you may recognize patterns that explain your own experiences without shame or judgment. At the surface, leaving seems simple. If someone is unhappy, they should go. But the human brain does not work on logic alone. It works on safety, familiarity, and survival. Staying, even in dissatisfaction, often feels safer than stepping into the unknown. One of the strongest forces at play is loss aversion. Psychologically, humans fear loss more than they value gain. Leaving a relationship means losing routine, shared history, financial stability, social roles, and identity. Cheating allows someone to seek emotional or physical relief without confronting those losses directly. Think about how people stay in jobs they hate. They complain, disengage, and fantasize about quitting, yet they remain. The relationship dynamic is similar. Cheating becomes a way to escape discomfort without burning down the entire structure of life. Another layer is attachment. Many people form deep bonds that feel essential to survival, even when those bonds are painful. The attachment system does not prioritize happiness, it prioritizes connection. Cheating can happen when someone wants novelty or validation, but cannot tolerate separation. The brain experiences separation as a threat. It activates stress responses similar to physical danger. For someone with a strong attachment bond, leaving can feel like stepping off a cliff. Cheating feels like standing on solid ground while reaching for relief. There is also the role of identity. Long-term relationships often become part of how people see themselves: partner, spouse, provider, caregiver. Leaving threatens that self-concept. Cheating allows someone to maintain the identity they know while secretly exploring another version of themselves. Have you noticed how people say, "This isn't who I am," after cheating? That's not always denial. It reflects an internal split. One part wants to preserve the familiar self. Another part is desperate for something missing. The brain reinforces this split through compartmentalization. When someone cheats, they often separate the affair from their primary relationship mentally. Different rules apply, different emotions are allowed. This makes it easier to avoid the full weight of their actions. There is also the power of hope. Many people cheat because they believe things might improve. They tell themselves it's temporary. They plan to stop once stress passes, once work slows down, once their partner changes. Leaving feels final. Cheating feels reversible. This hope is not always conscious. It lives quietly in the background. As long as there is hope, leaving feels premature. Cheating becomes a way to cope while waiting for change that may never come. Fear of conflict plays a major role as well. Leaving requires difficult conversations, emotional fallout, and confrontation. Cheating delays those moments. It allows avoidance. The brain prefers short-term relief over long-term resolution. Notice how often people avoid hard talks at work or in friendships. They vent privately but smile publicly. Cheating follows the same pattern. It is avoidance disguised as action. Another factor is emotional dependency. When someone relies on a partner for stability, validation, or structure, leaving feels destabilizing. Even if the relationship is unsatisfying, it still regulates their emotional world. Cheating adds stimulation without removing that regulation. This is why some people cheat even when they claim to love their partner. Love does not erase dependency, and dependency makes separation feel dangerous. There is also the brain's reward system. Novel attention triggers dopamine. Dopamine does not care about consequences. It responds to excitement, secrecy, and validation. Cheating offers a powerful contrast to routine. Importantly, dopamine does not mean love. It means anticipation. It thrives on the forbidden. This can trick people into thinking the affair is more meaningful than it is, making them delay leaving even longer. Ask yourself this: if leaving felt emotionally safe, would cheating still happen as often? Or is cheating a symptom of feeling trapped? Social pressure adds another layer. Many people stay because of family expectations, cultural beliefs, or fear of judgment. Leaving risks being seen as selfish or failing. Cheating remains hidden, at least temporarily. This secrecy creates an illusion of control. The person feels they are managing the situation. In reality, the situation is managing them. There is also the role of sunk cost. The more time, energy, and sacrifice someone has invested, the harder it feels to walk away. Cheating becomes a way to justify staying while meeting unmet needs elsewhere. The mind says, "I've already given so much, I can't leave now." Cheating whispers, "You don't have to." Some people cheat because they struggle to tolerate emotional emptiness. Leaving means being alone, even briefly. For many, solitude feels unbearable. Cheating offers connection without solitude. This is why affairs often begin during transitions, midlife shifts, career stress, grief, or identity changes. The relationship feels stagnant, but leaving feels overwhelming. Cheating feels like oxygen. It's also important to understand that not everyone cheats for the same reason. Some act out of resentment, some out of loneliness, others out of fear. The behavior looks similar, but the psychological drivers differ. This is why simplistic explanations fail. Cheating is not always about desire. Often, it's about avoidance. Here's a surprising insight. Many people who cheat believe they are protecting their partner. They tell themselves leaving would hurt more. Cheating, in their mind, maintains stability. This distortion allows them to avoid guilt while staying stuck. The brain is remarkably good at creating stories that reduce discomfort. These stories feel true in the moment. Only later do they collapse. Over time, cheating creates more anxiety, not less. The constant vigilance, secrecy, and fear of exposure activate stress systems. The person becomes emotionally fragmented, yet leaving still feels harder than continuing. Why does this pattern persist? Because humans are wired to choose familiar pain over unfamiliar pain. The known discomfort of the relationship feels safer than the unknown discomfort of separation. Think about how often people return to situations they know are unhealthy simply because they are familiar. Cheating is part of that loop. If you've been betrayed, this understanding does not excuse the behavior, but it may reframe it. Cheating often reflects internal conflict, not a clear decision to harm. And if you recognize yourself in this pattern, it's worth asking a deeper question. What am I afraid will happen if I leave? Clarity begins when avoidance ends. Leaving requires courage. Cheating requires hiding. The difference is not morality alone. It is emotional capacity. The core insight is this. People cheat instead of leaving because leaving threatens their sense of safety, identity, and emotional regulation. Cheating is a way to escape pain without facing fear. Understanding this doesn't justify betrayal. It explains it, and explanation is the first step towards change. If this perspective shifted how you see relationships, take a moment to reflect. Share your thoughts or experiences if it feels right. And if you want to keep exploring the psychology behind human behavior, consider staying connected for more conversations like this.